Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another installment of Pit Pass Network interviews. Today, we are joined by Todd Gilliland, driver of the number 38 Ford Mustang for Front Row Motorsports in the Cup Series. So, thanks so much for joining us, Todd.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited. It's kind of our downtime in the off season, but it's definitely fun. I'm definitely starting to get the itch to go back racing for sure.
For sure, yeah, you mentioned the off season. What have you done so far during the off season?
Yeah, so far we've definitely. I mean, we honestly haven't done much. We've been relaxing quite a bit. Me and my wife went on our honeymoon. That we got married in January, but kind of the season sneaks up on you fast, and then so we planned it for the off season. So that was really nice having that to look forward to. So yeah, we've really just been relaxing a lot, spending time with family, spending some time here at the race shop. It's really cool seeing just everything get repainted, just kind of touched up year after year, and yeah, just kind of just living and not doing much right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I guess recapping the 2023 season, how would you assess your season?
Yeah, I think this year we had a lot of ups and downs. I think there's a few weeks where we'd go on runs of running fairly competitive and running pretty well, and then some weeks we were just it seemed like out to lunch and just really bad. But I think partially we want. Well, I mean, we obviously want to run really well consistently every single week. But it's crazy to see how close everyone is on the Cup Series side of there's really good guys that will go out and have bad weeks. So I think it just shows that we just need to step up our game so much more. Um, I thought we started out the season good and then went through a pretty big slump through the middle of the year, but and then to finish the year, we really saw what our team was capable of as front row with Michael. Just really running super well every single week, obviously winning at Indy. And so, yeah, I think that's always a really good benchmark is, run where Michael's running. You got to think that he's getting everything out of his team, his car. And definitely their season this year was really well, or ended up being really good.
Yeah, for sure. And you had a unique aspect this season. You uh, had to switch once in a while to Rick Ware racing from front row. So how challenging is that to go from team to team throughout the season?
Yeah, it's definitely really challenging. It's some of them weren't horrible. Like at the beginning of the year, we were, when it's just like one race and then you're right back to, the front row 38 car. But it seemed like throughout the summertime, it was like, I ran Sonoma in the 51, and then it was an off week. And then like it just seems like it got really chopped up throughout the middle of the year. So yeah, that got really tough. Just bouncing back and forth. I'm obviously trying to help the Rick Ware guys because I want to run well when I'm there. But knowing, I mean, this is my team that I'm going to be with most of the races. It's really hard to balance. But obviously, just as a driver, I have to do as much as I can possibly for what I'm in that week, what I'm in the here and now, and just working with a bunch of different people. It's all very tough. There's multiple layers to it, but yeah, I'm definitely really excited to be back and know what I'm doing full time next year. It's definitely very helpful for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess we'll go back to your background now. So you're a third generation racer. Your father, David, and your grandfather, Butch, raced in the Cup Series. So despite having the family history, did you ever think during your childhood of pursuing any other sports, or was racing your passion basically from birth?
Yeah, so I think I always definitely racing was always my passion. I feel like, but yeah, I did go through like kind of phases where I'd play basketball or soccer, and I mean I'm fairly tall, and I was always a tall kid, so I think that's why I tried out basketball. But I'm just not athletic whatsoever, so those definitely did not work out well for very long, and then once I begged enough, we were able to get back into the racing side, and it's pretty much been racing from then on. So yeah, it's definitely been cool to grow up around it, and I think a lot of kids growing up, right, they have little cars and play with them, and for some reason, it's really easy for kids to be persuaded to love racing and love cars, right? So yeah, I think just growing up around it has definitely helped that, and it's definitely always been my passion since day one.
And then you had the great opportunity in 2018 to race against your father David for the first time in a NASCAR National Series event in the Truck Series at Dover. So how cool was it to race against him? Because you watched him as a kid from the grandstands or from home. So how cool was that?
Yeah, that was awesome. It's definitely, an opportunity that most people probably don't get. Like you said, to race in a NASCAR race with, a different generation of within your family. But definitely back then I was really competitive towards him and I was just wanting to beat him and that was like my main goal all day. So that was just a bad way to look at it. And since then, luckily we've been able to race multiple times together and definitely have really appreciated it a lot more, since then. And yeah, it's just really cool. You just got to appreciate it. It's hard to get into any NASCAR level, right? It takes a lot of time, people surrounded by you and believing in you. And yeah, for both of us to be able to do that on the same weekend, multiple times now is awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. Just keeping the family up there. And then I guess over the years, what has been your favorite racetrack to race on over the years in the NASCAR in any of the series, I guess?
Yeah, so for me, I've kind of a side note, I've always really loved the dirt races. I think those have been really fun. Just so different from what I've always ever done. This is pretty much only asphalt concrete stuff. And so yeah, it's been fun to learn, but now that that's gone, I've definitely just always loved short track racing. Kind of the opposite's what I've actually always done growing up in late models and just feel comfortable on those type of racetracks and really Martinsville in particular I'd have to say is probably my favorite racetrack and when we go there I feel like we have a chance of running well every single time so that's always been a really good one for me and it's close to home, the clock is just iconic for sure and yeah I think that's probably my favorite racetrack out there.
Yeah, you mentioned short tracks, and then actually in the Stacking Pennies podcast he had with Corey LaJoy, when he asked if you could choose one type of race car to drive in one racetrack, he actually said a K&N car at Iowa Speedway, and Iowa Speedway is actually coming back next year, in Xfinity, and then debuting in the Cup Series next year. So I guess how excited are you to tackle that racetrack next year?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think, I mean, definitely, at least from the memories I have, it was always a really fun racetrack. It seemed like you could move around kind of different lanes, top to bottom. And yeah, definitely in K&N, we had really fast cars that were, they were just really good around Iowa. So that was made it even a lot more fun. Definitely with the next gen Cup car, it's going to be very challenging just with how rough it is um, and honestly, we'll just have to see how it goes, right? It's I'm excited for it for sure. It's definitely be really challenging, and hopefully there's just a good turnout, lots of fans. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, so I'm really interested to see how all that goes. But yeah, hopefully we can pack the place, and it's a great show.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's coming back. And then you mentioned your teammate Michael McDowell earlier. He has already, or he has a lot of starts, 465 in the Cup Series. So how beneficial was it when starting out just to have a teammate with that much experience? You're in your second season now, or got through your second season.
Yeah, it's greatly helpful. I think Michael's probably one of the best teammates out there that I could ask for. He's definitely ultra competitive on the inside and when you get to the racetrack, but honestly feel like he doesn't hold anything back and as far as information and trying to help me in the betterment of our team too. I think his leadership here at the race shop is also just I feel like he's got to be one of the best out there. So there's just so much I can learn from him. He's been grinding out for a long time. Like he's had some tough situations and made it through it and kept going. So yeah, that's really cool. Like you said, there's so much I can learn from him, and I feel like he's been nothing but helpful. So yeah, it's going to be an endless learning curve compared to him, and I'm excited to continue it on.
And then your first ever Cup race was actually the 2022 Daytona 500. So that's very cool for that to be your first ever race. So just what was the emotions of that day? Because you got to start your first Cup race and then just to go along with it, the Daytona 500, how historic that race is.
Yeah, I think in my mind too, the Daytona 500 is just like an incredible race. Just anytime you can go through the tunnel of Daytona, come out on the infield, like look at the stands, it's just incredible to me. I think growing up around racing, that was always the one I looked forward to the most. And yeah, definitely on the grid, like before my first Daytona 500 with my whole family, friends, it was incredible for sure. So definitely a little bit emotional, but just super excited of what we were getting into. I had no idea, just excited to get it going. And honestly, that's my emotions, I would say, every time at Daytona, right? Everyone shows up just super excited. Your expectations are super high for the year. And that's to me what makes the energy of Daytona so much more special too.
Yeah, it's very cool. And then a fun fact, when you started the Daytona 500 15 years ago, in the 2007 Daytona 500, your father won the pole. So that's cool. It's like 15 years um, to that year there. And then speaking of Daytona or like any other pack racing track, when the white flag goes out, would you prefer to be leading the race and defend your spot, or be in second place and be on attack mode?
Yeah, I think nowadays, especially with the next gen car, you see how much two-lane racing it is. I think you really want to be leading for the majority of that last run. I think recently we've seen a lot of fuel saving games, and so as far as that, you have to be in a good fuel position, but you definitely, I feel like, want to be leading when you cross that white flag because I mean, first off, there could be a wreck at any time, and then second off, there's just really not much movement anymore. Coming to the end, almost the whole kind of last 10, 15 laps because everyone just stuck side by side. So yeah, you definitely need to get track position whenever you can, and then really keep it towards the end of the race. I think first or second has a really good chance coming to the end, but you definitely want to be first. If you can get clear of, a two-lane race behind you, it shouldn't be, as difficult to maintain your spot as maybe what we've seen in the past, where guys could just drive around you on the very top, very bottom, where now it's just really pretty much stuck on the bottom.
For sure. Then I guess here's a fun question. During the rain delay at Michigan earlier this year, you and Austin Cindric and Harrison Burton did some Wii Sports gaming. So first off, who was the best player that day? And then what was your greatest strength in your sport? Or what was your best sport in that day?
Yeah, that was fun. It felt like we were in rainy Michigan for like 5 days. But no, it was fun. So it was Harrison and Austin were doing it like the day before, and my dad was with me, and then he had to go home because of the rain. So yeah, just left me and them in there, and it was cool. Those guys had a head start on me for sure, but I came in strong. Um, I think ping pong was my best. I forget all the games we played, but I want to say I was best at that. Um, but yeah, I mean, the traveling part is, a really fun part of what we get to do, but also, when there's a rain delay, there's just sometimes a lot of downtime, right? So, it's definitely really fun to, have friends at the racetrack that you can hang out with and, sometimes, pass the time a little bit quicker.
Yeah, it's very cool too because but all three of you entered as rookies together in the Cup Series in 2022. So I know you and Harrison had were teammates at KBM before, so you guys have had a relationship there. But beforehand, did you have a like a deep relationship with like Austin or friendship before your rookie year?
No, so yeah, like you said, I know I've known Harrison really well for a long time. We've raced pretty much every step of the way against each other, and then but yeah, Cindric is one that I've also like just really enjoyed getting to know. I think he's got so much personality that I just didn't know he had, and his excitement is up there. He's super funny also on the inside. So yeah, that's one I've also just really liked to get to know. And he's a diehard competitor too, like all of us. But he's definitely, like I said, really funny, and it's been really fun to get to know him too.
Yeah, that's very cool. And then I guess closing out with a couple of fun questions here. Uh, so the Spotify and Apple Music recently gave the recap of music. So do you use those? And if so, who was your top artist this year?
Yeah, I actually haven't looked at it. I'm definitely Apple Music guy over Spotify, but I haven't looked. I think I'm just probably all over the place on that. I listen to a lot of country, a lot of rap, kind of old country. So I'm pretty much all over the board on that stuff.
And then what is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Ooh, I love ice cream. Ice cream sometimes doesn't love me. I feel like I'm a little bit lactose intolerant. But I love just like vanilla cookie dough, um, Oreo, kind of like cookies and cream. I love all those flavors for sure.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, me too. Cookie dough is my favorite as well. But yeah, just wrapping up this interview then. Thanks so much, Todd, for joining us. It's been great. Wish you the best luck next season. I hope you have a great, relaxing next rest of your off season and holidays. And yeah, thanks so much, Todd.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.